Hello, fantasy fans. I'm Kay Adams. Week 5 is over and done, and can you believe that we're already over a third of the way through the entire season? Totally crazy, but looking forward to week number 6 because this is where things really do get interesting. You've got those ever frustrating bye weeks to consider, key injuries to your stud players like Rashard Mendenhall, Andre Johnson, and so forth, leaving you, the fantasy owner, crossing your fingers for some huge big play production from iffy, unknown players like the Isaac Redmonds and the Jackie Battles of the NFL. Like I said, things get pretty intense right about now, and I think it's the perfect time to introduce a little contest. You've heard me talk about DraftDay.com. It is the perfect place. There are tons and tons of fantasy games. It's daily fantasy sports, so you can square off with myself and thousands of other fantasy fanatics just like you. Now, every week, I like to throw some poison out to some of those players who ruin my fantasy football week, who lose me my matchups, the guys who don't produce like I think they should, and I think they deserve a little talking to. This week, I want to hear what you have to say. I want you to tell me who is your biggest fantasy flop. So if you, I don't know, benched Big Ben because you thought he'd be less productive because he was injured and then he went out there and had a monster game and you lost your matchup, yeah, I want to hear from you. If you drafted Jamal Charles, Kenny Britt, Peyton Manning, and all the other injured guys in the NFL on your team, I want to hear from you. Get creative, be funny, because I'm going to pick one person on Friday who will receive $25 to spend to get your fantasy fix over at DraftDay.com. The way you do this, it's quick, it's simple, it's easy. Go to my Facebook page. It's facebook.com/fanballkadams, or you can just type in K Adams into the search engine on Facebook. Find me, comment on this video, or just comment in general, because Friday I will be picking somebody and I expect you to take that $25, find me at DraftDay, and compete against me. On to week 5, Deshaun Jackson decided to show up. Mario Manningham got me more than 1 point, which at this point is very, very impressive. And I'm really just trying to remain positive, and there's only one guy making that difficult for me right now, and that is Atlanta Falcons quarterback Matt Ryan. Now, pump the brakes. I'm not saying he's terrible. He's still a fantasy QB1. You've got to play him, but he is nowhere near producing what I thought he would. He's nowhere near the quarterback that I thought he'd be. I figured he's got Roddy White, he's got Julio Jones, he's maturing, he's got weapons, he looked great last year. This is a fantasy quarterback that I, and I believe many other people, reached for. And Matt Ryan, you're making me look stupid. I chose you to finish among all fantasy quarterbacks in the top 5, and at this pace, you're not cutting it. I know week 5, you played the Packers. It was a difficult matchup, but I thought you were really going to break out. Instead, you wound up with a pair of picks, 1 touchdown. You completed 18 of 32 passes for 167 yards. You were just not cutting it at the value, at the position that I took you. So get in the game, stop making me look stupid, and wind up being that top 5 quarterback. You've got the potential, you've got the stuff, make it happen. Because if you don't, I'm going to look in the direction of another guy, and I cannot believe I'm going to bring this name up, but yes, everyone, it's Tebow time. It's true, it's happening, it's absolutely unbelievable. Orton totally choked in week 5, and Mr. John Fox came out and he labeled and named Tim Tebow, Timmy T, as the starting quarterback from here on out. Now, do I think he's a great quarterback or that he should be a starting quarterback? No. Do I want to get involved in all the controversy about him? No. Do I think he is a viable, incredible fantasy asset? Absolutely. Say what you want, but in fantasy world, this kid is the way to go. He's an absolute must-add fantasy stud. He's going to rack up the points for you. He's going to pass the ball. He's going to use those legs to run the ball. He's going to score touchdowns, and he's going to rack up points. Just look what he did in the 3 games he played last year. Look at the 30 seconds he played this year. He racks up fantasy points. Regardless of whether or not, you like him or you think he's great, that's not what it's about. It's about fantasy points, and this is a must-add. So go grab Tim Tebow. Yes, me, Kay Adams, is telling you to do that. And while you're at it, head on over to DraftDay.com, check out all the games, and my Facebook page, facebook.com/fanballkadams. What is your biggest fantasy flop from this week, last week, this season? Tell me, and you could win $25 to go play around and get your fantasy fix over at DraftDay.com.